Good morning. I thought I would put together a little personal video for you as opposed to trying to explain, some complex stuff, on this both a simple but also very, very deep product. And the product's called Race Analyze. You can see it right there. That box is a small box, half the size of a pack of cigarettes. You turn it on, these light up, connects to four satellites using a global eSIM, accurate to 10 centimeters, stick it on the back of the bike, and the minute you hit the racetrack, it's automatically logging. And you can access that information. There's no SIM card, there's no cable, there's no waiting for download. You basically don't even have to take the device off the bike. You can actually open up your browser, and I'll send you a video on this as well, and you're accessing the data immediately. And not only accessing immediately, but you can decide what you want to look at. So that's the device, charge it up, plug it in, hit the track, off you go. Then you will go to this section here, which is called Live Track, and where that will take you is to this place here. Now this shows you, this is last weekend. If this was right now and you're at a racetrack and your device was turned on, it would take you there, but you can pretty much select wherever you want to be. But what's relevant is where you are, and that's the Slovakia ring. So you can see right there, right in the middle of Europe. Weather looks beautiful. In fact, you can see it was 18 degrees Celsius. It was a 1 kph per wind. And you zoom into the racetrack. Yeah, that'll make you seasick if you're not careful. And that's the racetrack. You can see over here on your left, there was a chap called Kipres on the track. He did 26 laps. And prior to that, in 2018, there was somebody there, 2016. And in some tracks in California, that's going to be populated more. So depending on how many users are using it. So this is Kipres. He did 26 laps. His best was 2:156.54. His last was 2:45 almost, so he was just cruising in, presumably. And there's his fastest lap. So it happened at 16:24, so right at the closing end of the day of 16:26. And here's one I'm going to get faster. You can compare to your own laps, or if you've conveniently got somebody who's slightly faster or faster than you, you can select that, because a rising tide raises all vessels. So let's assume this is you as the pro and this is your student. You can compare one against the other. And then you see everything's populated here. So this is the racetrack. Let's see what we're looking at. We're looking at driving lines, we're looking at high-low markers, and we're looking at sectors. What you really need to do here is you need to analyze. So you hit analyze, and then it opens up this little graph. Now this delta, whenever it's going down, there's time to be found. But really, whenever there's a gap between the two, there's space in there somewhere. So you can see the guy in yellow was quicker. So let's look at the guy in yellow. So in some cases here, the guy in blue was actually going faster, but yet ended up at a slower lap time. So that's always worth looking at, because what you might find is that in the middle of a corner, they're both at more or less the same kph or miles per hour. But halfway down the straight, there's going to be a difference. And you can see here in this instance, there's a 4-kilometer difference here. There's a whole 10 kilometers there, whereas here they're more or less the same speed. So that lets you have a good look at lines. And you can see that, the guy in blue here who was slower was perhaps using more of the track than he needed to, or whatnot. Sometimes you'll find it's there, they need to use the curbs more. But regardless, whatever you find, it's live, it's right there, and you can have a look. And then you can determine what you're looking at up here. I like driving lines because I'm a simple man. Leaning angle is kind of interesting sometimes, because you'll see here, the leaning angle, 26 versus, nearly 40. That's something that I would leave to you as more of an expert in that field, but that's something that you would find useful. Now, you will find in this, if you run the race, they both finish, at the same time. But what you can also do here is hit the distance delta, and that shows them where they finish relative to one another. That should be a fairly big gap by the end. And that's the analysis section. And I will send you a video as well, a short 30-second video that shows me actually using it on my phone. It's that simple and immediate. And then you've also got the social media element. So this is Andre, our inventor. He's got his own profile here, of course. He raises a Honda. That's his bike. He's been to all these different tracks. And you can access his data. And then you can send friend requests to anybody else who's there. You can limit what people can see. If you're really quick, you're probably going to want to leave your times up so everybody can see them. If you're a regular at a particular racetrack, you might want to go and lay down the fastest lap you can, and then have everybody else use that as a target. Or maybe some MotoGP guy will be testing there, or something else has happened in the past. They lay down a banner session or a banner lap, and that's what everybody's aiming for after that. I'll send you some more videos, as I said. I think this video might be more helpful because it'll have subtitles which will translate my Irish accent, and also, you know, you can watch it and break it up. And I'd encourage you to go and have a play yourself. All right. And on that note, I'll send you a link for this very shortly. Thank you very much for your time.